Another big story here on India Today. That's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar. He's launched a frontal attack on certain comments that have been made. The Vice President has slammed the Supreme Court deadline for the President and governors on bills that have been sent for approval. The Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar has said Judiciary is working like the super parliament right now, and he's mentioned this Article 142 of the Constitution that gives special powers to the Supreme Court, and he says that's actually become like a nuclear missile. Article 142 is being used against democratic forces. That's a very strong statement for the Vice President of India to make. The Vice President's strong remarks against the Judiciary come on the heels of the Supreme Court order in a Tamil Nadu case, in which the Supreme Court said Governor R.N. Ravi's decision to withhold assent to 10 bills was illegal and arbitrary. The bench comprising Justice J.B. Pardiwala and Justice R. Mahadevan effectively set a 3-month deadline for the presidential for the president's assent and the governor's assent to bills passed by the legislature for the second time. The court also said the president's functions are amenable to judicial review under Section 201 of the Constitution. The Supreme Court had also said in the judgment that only courts have the prerogative to provide recommendations regarding the constitutionality of the bill, and the executive is supposed to exercise restraint in such manners. The Supreme Court underlined that it would be prudent for the President to refer bills with constitutional questions to the Supreme Court. Listen in to Jagdeep Dhankhar.
We cannot have a situation where you direct President of India. And on what basis? The only right you have under the Constitution is to interpret the Constitution under Article 145(3). There it has to be 5 judges or more, boys and girls. When Article 145(3) was there, the number of judges in the Supreme Court was 8. 5 out of 8. Now 5 out of 30 and odd. But forget about it. The judges who issued a mandamus virtually to the President and presented a scenario it will be law of the land, have forgotten the power of the Constitution. How can that combination of judges deal with something under Article 145(3) is preserved? It was then for 5 out of 8. We need to make amends in that also now. 5 out of 8 would mean interpretation will be by majority. Or 5 constitutes more than majority in 8.
I want to quickly bring in India Today's Piyush Mishra for more on this. Piyush, this is almost like trench warfare, and the Vice President is digging in the heels on the side of the legislature, indicating that everyone must remain in their limits, in maryada. So is this the beginning of a massive confrontation with the judiciary?
Well, it seems like, Gaurav, we remember that soon after forming the government in 2014, we have seen multiple instances where the ministers of the government also have had a confrontation with the Supreme Court judges. We remember as to how on the issue of NJAC, on the issue of collegium, multiple times differing statements have come from the government representatives. But this time, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar has gone on to say as to how court can give directions to the President of India. He is also saying that the few articles are being used as nuclear missiles, and this statement somewhere is going to draw a better line between government and Supreme Court. Remember that when a judge, Justice Verma, was also found embroiled in cash found at his residence. At the time also, Jagdeep Dhankhar was the first person to have pointed out to have a detailed discussion on this entire matter on the floor of the House. In fact, he had also advocated for, to bring back NJAC. We still remember that the Modi government, when it was formed in 2014, the first thing the government did was to bring up NJAC, which was struck down by the Supreme Court. After that, Kiran Rijiju, when he was the law minister, he had made various comments on collegial system. So following which we are now seeing Jagdeep Dhankhar is coming out and also saying as to how courts can direct the President of India. We'll have to wait and watch how the opposition political parties are going to comment on this, but it is certainly going to stir another controversy between opposition and the government.